doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily have to be like in monetary like terms, but where you just sit there and just like yeah no they like I was like in deep fire like it was tough. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Hey. Okay, with this one, like I've encountered the bits. So basically, my biggest loss, like closed out loss, that I was actually last year, which is in September last year. So this was when so I trade Nasdaq a lot, and basically at this point Nasdaq was very very volatile. So I had 500,000 rand in that account, just over actually. And basically what had happened was, I can just remember it was like 31st of 30th 31st of August and going into the new month of September, and this was NFP week. And I know I executed my trade and I was in profit. So I trade New York session, so at that point it was 3:30. So executed the trade. I was in like I think 10,000 rand profit, but then I was like, you know what, this is not my profit target, so I held the trade. And the next thing you know, this thing is just tanking, and I had long positions on it, and oh my word, I just saw it went to like negative 130 somewhat thousand rand. Then I was like, nah, it's fine. This always happens during New York session where it like does these things and then it starts to reverse afterwards. So I left it. And so it started to rectify, came back. Next thing you know, it dropped further, went to negative 200,000. Now I'm sitting at this point, the anxiety is here in your throat. You're sitting and you're like, oh my god, what's happening? And you know, you start to shake, you start to shiver. You're like, ish, I don't know whether I should close. Should I just take the 200k out, or should I just continue to hold? So eventually, at the end of the day, I closed out my trade. Now, and I'm open to sharing this with people because I want them to know that as much as you may be in the industry for as long as you need to, well, as long as you are, you still make these mistakes. Because what I had done was I went into the market the next day. I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to step back and be like, what happened? Why did I make this loss? Was it something that I didn't have control over, and something that I missed? What happened?
Yeah.
But me being me, I went back into the market the next day, lost another 100,000 rand. Because why? I started to chase now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I made that loss. I need to recoup. And then the following day, same thing. I traded that whole week and I lost that whole week.
Sure.
So I took a break after September. I sat back and I said, you know, I need to understand why I made this mistake. Because it was basically stupidity afterwards. Chasing the market is something that I tell people not to do. So why was I doing it?
Yeah.
You know, but we are humans at the end of the day. And I took quite a long break after that because I was like, you know what? It actually affected my mental health quite drastically because, I mean, it's not like chump change. It's a lot of money. And it actually also affected me physically. Like I got like physically ill as well because I obviously, when you're suffering like mentally and your anxiety is peaking and stuff, like you don't eat, you don't sleep, and then that starts to affect you like physically. But eventually I said, you know what, I'm just going to take a break from trading for a little while. And I took like a month or two. And I literally went back to the drawing board. I said, okay, this was the biggest loss I've ever incurred. Why did I make this loss? And till this day, I have that piece of paper that I wrote from that time period in my life, pasted on my wall, that said certain things that I need to do differently. And there's many exclamation points on that paper so that I never ever repeat the same mistake. And ever since then, and it's been like a good couple months now, I haven't repeated those same mistakes. So am I sad that I lost that money? Very sad. But do I regret it? No, because it needed to happen for me to learn. And I do also regret certain things that happened then, like the way in which I handled it. I could have handled it much better in terms of the way that I treated myself, because also as humans, we tend to be like very harsh on ourselves. It's like, you stupid, you should have known better. And then you like start to be very nasty to yourself, and you shouldn't do that. So, you know, when I encountered that loss, I really needed to learn, and I needed to go through it so that I could basically push forward in my career. And basically from there, I feel like it was literally just like, a bow and arrow. The further back you go and you get pulled back, the further you're going to go forward.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I haven't repeated those same mistakes. I now work with a very, 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 very different sort of trading plan in comparison to there. I actually stopped trading such volatile periods as well because as much as the payout is great, also the stress levels,
Yeah.
they're not the greatest
It's
as
not
well.
worth it.
It's not, in the long run, it's not because, I mean, you're going through something, like it puts you through something mentally and then you start going through something physically. So, yes, it worked for me for like maybe 2 or 3 years when I used to trade New York session. But now I don't trade it anymore. I find that it's better when I trade less volatile times because then my anxiety is not so bad and I'm actually able to see the market clearer.
Yeah.
Because now when you're sitting there at 3:30 and then you're like, ish, these candlestick movements, buy, sell, and then you're sitting there. So
Yeah.
now it's more calculated.
Yeah.
It's more, that's why I said you wait for the entries. You don't force the entries. Also closing out profits or trailing stop. You have to have that there. See, if I had locked my profits then, I wouldn't have been sitting in that position.
Yeah, that's true.
So you just tend to go back and say, I remember, this is what I need to do.
Yeah. Any losses that you've currently taken over the past year where you just look back and you just like, yeah, no, it was rough.
When did we have the
2019.
interview? It was 2019,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, no, 2020,
Yeah.
huge loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around mid-March.
Okay.
So I know it was just after like even Nasdaq was like shorting and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I took a loss. Like I said, quite a huge loss, about like 45,000 US.
Okay.
And yeah, that did mess with me. I don't
Yeah.
want to lie and be like, no. that was quite a lot of money to lose. So I did stay away from trading actively. I was still looking at the markets because, like I said, that Forex is my life, and the biggest thing is because I provide service to people, I might not feel the best today. I might not trade today, but somebody's still going to ask me for my opinion to be like, hey, bro, Euro USD or Aussie dollar. I see it's quite high. Should I carry on holding this buy? Because we trend traders, So if the market's buying, we buy. So, but you got to find, if you trend trading, got to find a point to stop where you know that, okay, you won't buy beyond this point. But people will call me and be like, yeah, I see it's buying. I think it's going to buy some more. Do you think I should buy? Then I need to open my phone. But me personally getting into the markets, I did kind of stay away. But I was trading gradually. But I'm back here, and I'm going hard every day.
Yeah.
I'm going in every day. Fortunately, I didn't lose it all. It was just a lot of money. It was pretty much 2019 profits, that got taken away. So went back to capital. So capital is still in there. All the money that was made from the years before still in there. But pretty much from like June, half of June, from June to like December 2019 money, that was all taken away. Yeah.
Sure. And what was your biggest lesson that you took from that experience?
Funny enough, it's quite contradictory of what I usually teach my people, and that's the thing. Again, this is money, and understand when you're trading, you're always going to be emotional. This could be your first trade or your 100th or your 1000th trade. You're always going to be emotional. Cut your losses. That's the biggest thing. I didn't cut the loss, and I think that's sometimes the biggest problem when you're very consistent and you're winning a lot of trades, you start becoming overconfident to a point where I thought, this thing is going to come back, this thing is going to come back, this thing is going to come back, And once I saw that, okay, look, pretty much half my work for 2019 has been taken away from me, that's when reality dawned, and it was like, close this trade. And like, it wasn't one trade, it was like a number of trades.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, close these trades, take a break.
Yeah.
You know, take a break. And I always say that always leave some for tomorrow.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I always tell people that look, it might not be going well today, you will lose, but don't blow the account. Always leave some for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or if you blowing the account, look, it's fine to blow an account, but don't let it be your entire trading capital. If you just got $500 to it, don't put your entire $500 on that one trade.
Yeah.
Like, you can go open a $50 account from your 500 and blow that. That's fine because you still have more to trade.
Yeah.
But yeah, always leave more to trade. So that's the biggest thing that, dude, you always tell people that hold on to the winners and cut the losses. Yeah. So the biggest thing was cut your losses
Yeah,
as
yeah.
quickly as possible. But not too quick because the market still sometimes has to move out
Yeah,
of range, you
yeah.
know, before getting into profit. But when you know you're wrong, accept that you're wrong
Yeah.
and be out that market. Don't
Okay.
hope for a miracle.
Yeah. Okay. Now, any losses that you've taken where you sit and you're just like, yeah, no, there I feel like, shoot, I messed up there, or do you have any of those trades over the past 2 years though?
Well, first, January, like,
Yeah.
I was not even under a lot of pressure and all those things, but I was, because, like, I actually started, let me explain to you, because January I had the biggest win and I also had the biggest loss
Okay.
in January. So what happened is that, like, obviously I've got a new office spot,
Yeah.
and I stopped selling my services. I don't know what was the mindset behind that. But I was like, okay, I want to focus on what I can do, you understand? So now I'm just, like, literally relying off of trading and just other businesses that I'm doing on the side. And then, like, obviously during that whole month, like, trading was the only thing that would allow me to, pay salaries, do all those things. Because me, myself, like, I don't have expenses. Like, I'm not too expensive, you understand? But, things such as, like, I put my money more into business, you understand?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then what happened is that, like, I was trading under a lot of pressure. And then fortunately, like, I was able to, like, I made a lot of money, like, close to approaching end of January, I was able to clock like 500,000 in a day from Nasdaq and even US 13. That was exciting. Like, I got excited, changed a lot of things. I was now confident, okay, the next 2 months, 3 months, I'm sorted here,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then, like, 3 days later, I lost like 70, 60, 70,000. But as, like, I also learned a lot from it because I wanted to do that again. I wanted to make like 500K every day. So I saw my mistake,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, okay, let me just stay away from the markets. I'm safe now. I'll come back maybe after a week, 2 weeks, and then like I'll just see what I've done to make that much money, what I've done to not make that much money, and then I'll learn from my wins and losses overall. You understand?
Yeah.
So those are things that I like that helped me. Obviously every win or loss is just a lesson.
Yeah. It needs to be
Yeah.
that trade where you felt like you really lost there,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, so
So, I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
So basically, my biggest loss is I'll refer to it as what would be known as a losing streak. Okay.
Okay.
So, it was a week where in my own personal life there was some stuff happening, and I still felt the need to kind of force myself to sit in front of the markets, right? And that was the silliest thing to do, and because my head wasn't clear, like my decision-making process was all weird and sticky, and I wasn't flowing, like I wasn't in the flow state, and that led me to losing one trade, and coming back the next session, because we followed our rules and stuff, so we come back the next session, doing the same thing, and losing another trade, and then for that whole, like, I'd never, until like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't have one winner, right? And whether these trades were high probability or not, I couldn't tell you because my process were like, it was everywhere. And to recover only from that is that, like, I could only, what I'm trying to say is I could only recover from that after clearing the emotional mess
Yeah.
in my mind.
yeah.
And yeah, that's been a big lesson to me as well.
And what's the biggest lesson you took from that experience?
Is one, not every day is a trading day. Two, if there is something that happens in your life that throws your decision making off, and you are emotional, you need to allow that emotion to sift through. You need to allow that emotion. You need to feel it, experience it, and allow that emotion to sift through. Because if you don't harness the emotion, you'll never learn from it. And a lot of people just push it aside, or they'll go armadillo effect, and they'll just ignore it. Okay, so that is the biggest lesson for me is not to. I don't need to trade every single day. I don't need to. But there are opportunities. That doesn't mean I need to trade every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee, on your side?
For me, it was actually very recent. It was in the beginning of COVID. It's just actually been a really long roller coaster.
Yeah.
My biggest loss was during that period of time. So again, it comes to when I was too overconfident with my 2 weeks winning streak. Then I found that, when you're too overconfident, I gave all the money back, multi six figures, and then coming along to follow with revenge trading.
Yeah.
I'm missing out. I'm chasing the trade. So that is something I wish I had never done.
Yeah. And
I'll
what's the
never
biggest
forget.
lesson you took from that?
Don't chase it. If you lose, don't put back.
Yeah.
Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
no.
like sifting that out
Yeah,
of your
yeah,
system.
yeah.
So I
before
was
you
not
can
in my
make
head.
it.
Yeah. I have to ask about this one specifically. Let's talk about that 149,000 USD loss of yours.
Yeah, that was a job, man.
I understand that you took the account from 5,000 USD
$5,000.
to $149,000, and then you lost that.
Yeah. So 2017, 2018, somewhere there. I started trading in 2017, obviously. 2017, around about September was when I funded my first account. Around about November, I had made so much money. And in Jan, I think, like in November, that's when I was actually making real money. Like that's when I started having 10,000 rands, 20,000 rands, 30,000 and stuff like that. That was actually not so much money, but for me, that was a lot because I had never seen money like that in my life before, especially from my own hustle. I had never seen that money before. So round about Feb in 2018, I funded an account at $5,000 from the money that I had obviously been making. And when I funded that account at $5,000, I was trading in a group that also had Joesh Naidu.
Yeah.
That was one crazy group, man. That was
Yeah.
one crazy group. So we used a strategy called Beat the Market Maker. And I was, like, at the time, I was still trying to learn the strategy. And then I grew my account using my own technicals that I was trading with before. And obviously, I'm in this group, I'm trading in my own style, and I'm trying to understand what the group was trading. I was learning how they were trading the Beat the Market Maker method. At the same time, I'm trading my own account, which is that $5,000 account. And I pushed it to 149 by June, $149,000 by June,
Yeah.
which is equivalent to 2.1 million rands. And obviously, that was my biggest account. So how we used to trade before compared to now is that we used to trade currencies and we used to build accounts. So we would never fund 10,000 to make 100,000 today and withdraw. Like you would fund money and grow that account. Have a big account for bigger targets, have a small account for daily runs and stuff like that. That's how I used to do things. I had a small account for those little outings to restaurants and stuff like that. And then I had that account which was mainly targeted for my goals and dreams and stuff like that. So I funded that account and I pushed it to 149. And during the growth of that account in these months that I was trading, I was also a part of that group, which also had Joesh Naidu in it. And Joesh was actually a close friend of mine in that group, and we used to share setups and stuff like that. So in the group, they taught us how to trade Beat the Market Maker.
Yeah.
This was this other guy from Durban. He's Indian. His name was Yusuf.
Yeah.
He was the leader of the group. So he used to make millions of dollars a day. He used to
Yeah.
make millions in dollars per day. So all of us were inspired by that. And I thought to myself, I need to get to that level. Bro, I had $149,000. There's a lot of traders who haven't touched that kind
Yeah.
of a big account.
Yeah.
I had that account, but that account seemed so small because I looked at someone who was making millions in dollars a day. And I was badly influenced to actually now start risking my own account to get to a point where I'm also making millions a day. I remember it was this one day, I think it was around about June or so, I was trading USD JPY and USD CAD, and I sold in the group. The guy also sold the same pairs,
Yeah.
and he took, I think, 200 lots on UJ, 200 lots on USD
Yeah.
CAD. I went to my account and I took 100 lots on USD CAD and I took 100 on USD JPY. So I had a total of 200 lots in that account.
Yeah.
My heart was beating so fast. Like, I had never panicked like that in my whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
That trade got into profits a bit. I think I was running like $20,000, $30,000 with just a couple of pips, man.
Yeah.
And it went back to my entry. When it got back to my entry, I added 100 and 100. So I had a total of 400 lots.
Sure.
And the markets was ranging around my entry. It played around my entry,
Yeah.
played around, went into profits, came back. And so I took the trade later on the day. I remember it was late in the day. It was like the evening. I think it was around 7 or so. So that night, the markets shot up like mad. And I was sitting on a drawdown of $49,000.
Yeah.
$49,000, $50,000. And I thought to myself, should I close? Should I hold? And I said, I'm not going to close this. Went to minus $70,000.
Yeah.
And I tried to go to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. Because, I mean, how can you sleep with a minus of
Yeah.
$79,000?
Yeah.
And this is 149.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, yo, come back now. It's going to come back. So next morning, I woke up. That thing was sitting on minus $90,000, minus 100. And like in a few minutes, bro, that thing kept on going up. It kept on going up, and they started stopping out positions.
Yeah.
They stopped out one. They stopped out two. They left two running. And I can see that if these trades get stopped out,
Yeah.
I literally don't have anything left on this account.
Yeah.
They stopped out the other one, and one was left, and they stopped it out. And the balance on that account was $850, $900, somewhere there. From $149,000, I got stopped out to around about $900.
But mind you,
And yo,
I think what people need to understand, you grew this account for like
I grew this account. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is hard work that.
For how many months, though?
Like from like round about Feb till June.
Yeah.
So that's like 5 months of growth.
Yeah.
So seeing 5 months of hard work go down the drain like that was the most painful thing. And I had made plans with that money. I thought, okay, that kind of brokers withdrawals come in working days.
Yeah.
Let me maybe for next week for these guys to deliver my car. I know if one of that guy's dealership is watching this video, they'll remember very well that I had ordered a Maserati in 2018, and I told them to deliver it the following week, and they contacted me, man, the following week, and things were different. So
Sure.
that was quite an experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful that it happened, because had it not happened, I was not going to be where I am today.
Okay.
Because I learned so much from that,
Yeah.
man. So that was heavy, bro.
Sounds like an experience and a half.
That was heavy. I don't
Yeah.
think that's something I'll ever forget in my life. That was
Yeah.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the biggest lesson you took from this whole experience?
I'm big on risk management now,
Okay.
because what I was doing was so stupid. I mean, who's gonna put 400 lots on a $149,000 account? Why are you putting it? Like, how much do you wanna make? Did I really need $1 million? No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it taught me to be so realistic with myself and my targets, that I don't over risk and I don't over leverage my accounts
Yeah.
if I really want to see consistent money. So right now, I'm not just about making big money, but I'm also about making consistent money. And that really taught me so much about trading, that even losses will happen, but how do you make sure that when the loss happens, it doesn't actually take up everything that you've worked for so hard?
Yeah.
Because remember that this was 5 months of hard work
Yeah.
that was taken in just a day.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that your hard work will never be taken away from you in such a short space of time? And the lesson that came from that was that you should know how to manage your risk. It's not just about making money, but understanding how to manage it.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have been far, man. If I
Yeah,
understood this earlier,
Yeah.
I could have been far.
Yeah.
Yeah.